boxy, no charades. Payroll baddies, ready to fight and get paid. Payroll baddies,
Payroll baddie. Payroll baddie.
Happy Friday.
Welcome to another podcast of the Payroll Baddies. Thank you to our listeners, new and old. We're very excited today because we have a special guest with us. Just again, some reminders. This is the Payroll Baddies. We are all about SAP payroll. Yes, we are biased, but we talk about other things too. And if you don't like our bias, you know where to go. Right? So today I'm very excited for our special guest. So as usual, we're going to do a fight style intro. So here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, hailing from Chicago, Illinois, she is the founder and CEO of Raven Intelligence, the independent scorekeeper for HR and payroll implementations, recognized as a top 100 HR tech influencer, and part of the SAP ecosystem of verified partner reviews. She turns project he said, she said into data you can trust. Off the ice, yes, she is an avid figure skater. And on the mic, she's B-RAVE. Please welcome Bonnie Tinder.
I love it.
Bonnie,
Thank you so much. I mean, that was as good as Michael Jordan's entrance. So
that's what we want you to feel
very
special.
Honored.
We feel we want our guests to feel special because that's what you are. So thank you for joining. And maybe Bonnie, you would love to just do a little quick intro about yourself. And so our audience, I'm sure most of them already know you, but so they can get to know more about you. So.
Yeah, well, thanks so much for having me. I am based in Chicago, have been in the HR tech industry for my entire career, so 25 plus years. 8 years ago, I started my business, Raven Intelligence. As Raj said, we are sort of the Yelp or TripAdvisor of implementation and partners. So what we look at day in and day out is the success of enterprise software implementation from the customer perspective. And we really are out in our mission in life is really about helping make the implementation less painful for customers and for customers to really pick the best partner that fits the project that they're looking to implement within their company.
Hey, this is William Tincup, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit about Practitioner Corner podcast. It's a wonderful podcast about the journey, the paths of how practitioners, both HR and TA, kind of go from high school, college, all the way to where they are right now. Some of the things that they've learned, how they've been successful, people that thrive around them, etc. It's a fun podcast. You'll love it. You'll learn from it. Subscribe to it. Thanks.
That's great, Bonnie. And I know another fellow Chicagoan. It's great to have you on. And so I remember when we first met, I think the whole origin story and everything was super exciting, right? Because a lot of times when you're, working with customers, it's really tough for them to go and say, well, hey, who's the right trusted partner, right, for us to kind of go on this journey? And when you came out with Raven Intel, it was a groundbreaking idea. And I think we're super excited to see where you've taken it. I guess one question I have is, what's one surprising thing, right, that you've learned from years of all these implementation reviews that you've seen so far over the past 8 years?
Yeah. So I think the surprising lesson is that the biggest success factor in any project isn't the software. And yet that's where everybody focuses their time and attention during the selection process is, picking the actual right software. What's more important is really the team that implements it and being ready internally for that sort of change. It is super important to partner with the right vendor and to have those relationships for sure. You don't want to pick the number two, software for your needs. On the other hand, if you don't pick the right team, all the good software in the world isn't going to fix, or solve the challenges that you have. So it's really all about the team.
No, absolutely. And so I guess for our listeners and audience, right, who's interested in kind of getting involved in Raven Intel, like walk us through that process. What does that really look like from a, end-to-end perspective?
Yeah. Well, if you think about the last time you bought anything, right, whether it was on Amazon or, in online, chances are you have read not one, but multiple reviews about that product. And even if it's a $2 item that you're getting off Amazon, you're looking for reviews. That is the lifeblood of our research and our data, is that same idea of reviews, but rather than reviewing a $2 item, we're having customers review sometimes a multi-million-dollar, multi-year project in the partner and team that help them in that transformation process. So, most important, any existing project that you've gone through, a partner that you've worked with, that you have feedback on, we'd love to know about that at Raven. It's super easy, takes less than 5 minutes to do a review on ravenintel.com, and that helps the next customer that it's implementing SAP SuccessFactors, or any number of software, to really know what they wouldn't know otherwise in terms of the experience. So that is what everybody comes to our site to read, are those reviews. And also we have all of the partners listed who are doing the volume of implementations of these things. So if you are about, seeking to do a project, whether it's a phase 0 project, whether it is a, you're looking for AMS services to augment what you're doing, or you're looking to install a new module or add a new functionality to your SuccessFactors project, come in and read the reviews and use what we have available to you for free to help inform your decision as well. And, for end to end, it's a free and open site to read reviews. But if you have insights and you have some feedback on your project, share it with others, share it with us, because that really helps us to be current.
No, that's great. And I think there's a lot of good data that, that comes as part of that. And especially when customers are going through that large sales cycle, it's very important to kind of vet out your partners, right? Now, one last question that I'm kind of curious about is, like, how do you guys collaborate with ecosystems such as SuccessFactors, right? And then, like, in terms of working collaboratively, and then what do exactly customers do with that data?
Yeah, it's a great question. And the SAP SuccessFactors ecosystem, partner ecosystem, is so important to us. Number one, because I think they have such a global and large, representation of partners who are helping customers with implementation. And so the way that we work with SAP SuccessFactors partners is to help showcase the work that they are doing and give them a presence and a profile on our site, as well as the ability to get reviewed. And so, we offer that, to any partner who's doing SAP SuccessFactors implementation, to give them, a very independent way to have their reviews shown. So that's number one. But then in terms of, our ability to aggregate the data together, so we can look across all of SAP SuccessFactors and see what are the trends of implementation and partner work in the previous year, let's say. And we can help then compare that data to other, peers in the industry that are doing like sort of projects. And, you can probably guess who they are as well. But it allows us to see, where are the real pockets of success happening within SAP SuccessFactors versus peers and things like that. Where are the challenges, and what, where are the partners that are really doing some unique things and providing a service at a great value for clients. And those are the partners that we want to recommend to everybody, shout from the rooftops, whether they have many millions of dollars to spend on advertising, or they're a small independent that maybe doesn't have the marketing budget of a big 5 firm and yet is doing amazing work for clients. I mean, we're here to like showcase some of those amazing success stories that nobody else would know about. And those, for those customers that, might have not experienced, one of those partners that are doing amazing things, we want to help them give them a voice and get invited to some of those opportunities that they may not have been invited to in the past because they have such a great track record of success. So all of this to say, we want to illuminate and help bring the, how should I say, the very best, the A players, and give them a big, strong voice in the industry, through a really democratic process.
Hey, Bonnie, that makes a lot of sense. But so let's take kind of the ecosystem hat off and put the customer hat on. And I think, one of the things I've loved about what Raven does is analytics. Like I can find out what the trends are, get kind of the meta analysis of what projects are customers doing. So when I think of like a lot of our listeners are practitioners, right? And they're trying to solve a specific problem, or they're looking for help with a solution. Can you talk, and we see changes over time, right? I mean, a long time ago, it was like getting into the cloud. And now that the cloud is, kind of older than my youngest kid, it's like, okay, what's top of mind now? What are you seeing in your analytics from an end user perspective?
Yeah. I think AI, of course, has entered the chat, right? So that is something that everybody is talking about. Not necessarily that they want to implement it right away, but they want to be set up in a position to, go quickly and be able to embrace, the AI tools quickly because they have the infrastructure built. I think, though, right now, the trends that we are seeing are all about speed, clean data, adoption, and, cutting through any AI hype to really understand, okay, so if I were to implement this particular functionality, what is the actual business outcome from that? But I don't think that everybody is concerned so much about, the AI as much as they are being able to be ready to implement whatever that latest and greatest AI is because their data is in place and they have the right foundation built. I think that's, there's so many changes happening and so many, innovations in the AI world that like every week it's a new story. And yet nobody can take advantage of any of that goodness if they don't have the right, infrastructure in place to begin with. So I think that's more of the need right now is help me get all of my data clean. And how can I get my current system and house in order so I can bring in the AI functionality and quickly layer that on top. So that I would say is a huge trend.
So that makes a lot of sense, and it kind of brings up another point for me that we talk about on this podcast quite often is, how does it work when you're solving for different processes with different data models and different vendors, and like when you're just looking for the best of breed, maybe does that even work? I mean, based on if you're looking at a clean core, how does that work? You've got a bunch of people speaking different languages within your back office. I mean, are you seeing projects?
Well, I mean, I will tell you, and I'm gonna switch out my hat here. So I'm taking off my Chicago, and let's talk about challenge. Right?
Love props.
We got 99 problems, and integration is about 49 of them. So like there is, I would say, the number 2 challenge that we see from these reviews from customers on these implementations or transformations are, the integrations that really have run amok. And, there's no such thing as a standard integration, right? So the idea of best of breed, and unifying 17 different HR, pieces of software is really challenging. And yet, I think people minimize that effort when we are looking at implementation, right? And so this idea that, oh, well, the product is automatically integrated to XYZ, tertiary software, that's great, but it never is that easy. I mean, best case scenario is that you have, a single unified platform, whether that's, definitely HR and payroll together. And now with the Smart Recruiters platform. And so you have your talent acquisition suite all within a singular system. That's much better than trying to unify 17 different vendors, system, contracts, style of services, et cetera, AI agents, all of those type of things. So, I think there's a lot of consolidation that's happening in the marketplace just in general. But I think that, customers, as streamlined as they can get their processes and vendors, ultimately that is something that I think we see most successful projects are ones that have a singular, sort of system that everything is talking to each other.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I tell you what, I'm going to kick it over to Imran because I know he's got some questions more directly about the tech and what customers are looking for and some of the outcomes. So Imran?
Yeah, for sure. So Bonnie, in some of our past episodes, we've really talked about this, right? Like vendors making an HR buying decision, especially global companies, they, make a decision to buy HR and then they don't account for payroll. I think Todd put on LinkedIn like, hey, I've seen some careers ended over like not considering this. And so for all of us, look, we've worked on a lot of projects, whether it's 10, 15, 20. So I think we have a really good feel of the anecdotal data of like that's a mistake to not do it. But given the huge statistical data that you have at Raven Intelligence, I'd love to know like what your thoughts are, right, in terms of the difference between a customer that buys core HR and payroll together versus one that makes a HR buying decision and then later is like, oh shit, what am I going to do with payroll? And then kind of stuck with some poor options. So I don't know, statistically, do you have data on that? Because I'd love to kind of back up what we feel.
Yeah. Well, I think core HR without payroll is like running a marathon with one shoe. Technically, you can do it, but it's going to be painful and inefficient. And so, there's, customers that do decouple HR and payroll, right? They're the ones that have, multinational operations. Payroll is very specialized and throughout the world, long tail type of operation. But, that sort of scenario backfires when you underestimate, how much integration work that takes and support costs. Sometimes the support costs of integrating all of those payroll systems ends up being more expensive in some cases than the actual payroll software itself. Sure. And so, technically, is it possible to do that? Yes. But ultimately, if you can get it is unified on a singular system and, HR with payroll together, for reporting, for analytics, all of those good things that you get automatically with the singular system. I think that's the best case scenario. And as I said before, the number 2 pain point that we hear on reviews are, is the pain with integrations, and the payroll integration is when those integrations don't go well. I mean, those are the worst of, integration issues. So, payroll is a deal breaker essentially if it's not working and doesn't work in tandem with HR. And so that's one big risk that you want to make sure that you really fully understand if you're going to do those two systems separate.
100%. Perfect. I'm going to change it up a little bit, Bonnie. Let's look at some news that's trending out there with this AI, race in the HR tech big space here with SAP, Smart Recruiters acquisition. Then we heard Workday with Paradox.
Copycats. Sorry.
I know. Give us some of your B-RAVE intel, your perspective here. on these two acquisitions here.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big week. It's a big week. So we've got, also Dayforce making the move to go private with Thoma Bravo for, 13 billion, something like that. That's a big move too. And I think as we just sort of zoom out on what's happening in the marketplace right now. I mean, you see a really clear pattern. So SAP acquiring smart recruiters. Earlier this year, we saw ADP acquire Workforce Software. Paychex acquired Paycor. Now Workday and Dayforce have doubled down. And I think the real message here is that every major HR tech vendor is racing to bolt on additional AI. Private equity money is piling in, and the space is just consolidating really fast. So I think that, like, in terms of like overall market dynamics, I think that's the big one to take away. I think the SAP Smart Recruiters deal, though, specifically is a really significant one, because it really gives them an opportunity, gives SAP SuccessFactors the opportunity to now have a new customer base to, potentially cross-sell the core HR suite into. So I think 1/3 of Smart Recruiters customers are current SAP SuccessFactors clients, but I mean, they have 4,000 clients. That leaves those other 2/3 to now be just incredible opportunities for the rest of the SAP suite as well, which is going to be further integrated, now with the talent acquisition platform. So I think that that's a really key acquisition. We heard Dan Beck talk about the culture of the two organizations just being really well aligned. And I mean, that's a big deal, because now he's, the SAP SuccessFactors group has this really neat, nimble, organization that's specialized in talent acquisition and has done some really creative things with the AI. Now is on the SAP bench for HR as well. So it really does add, I think, some great new opportunities, even beyond just, giving that new AI functionality for talent that they've immediately purchased with the product itself.
100%. I mean, I know I read it in an article that, just in a few years, like 2030, the need for a very proven driven solution for talent, managing talent, acquiring, candidate information and making that expressive experience more elevated. It couldn't come at a better time. So I'm really excited. Recruiting is definitely in my heart of solutions I love. So I'm so excited to hear more that's going to come down, hopefully in SAP Connect. We'll know more about, what's all the functionality and the bells and whistles of Smart Recruiters. So excited for that.
See, nobody can tell PayrollBADIes we don't like talent. We talk about talent. See, we cover everything. So
thank you.
Yeah.
Hey,
love it. Bonnie, how about a little game? A little lightning round, if you will.
Okay, I love it. Yes.
Okay, I've got a few. First one will be, I'll ask you a few bucket areas. You say underrated or overrated. And then I'm happy for you to add on if you've got some additional thoughts. But customer reference calls during an RFP.
Underrated.
Agree. Now, you've touched on this a little bit, but a few times in this conversation, but AI in HR tech.
I would say both, right? So it is overrated if you talk to any vendor. And so vendor demo theatrics and big promises are definitely overrated. Underrated is the effort to get yourself ready to apply the AI tools on top of what you have. So a little bit of both on that one.
Okay, that's fair. We obviously know the absolute significance and importance of reviews on Raven Intelligence, but what about post-implementation surveys that are more internal to a project?
Yeah. I would say underrated, continue to monitor progress. I had a great conversation with somebody, last week where, that postmortem meeting is where you talk about all the lessons learned and things that sort of like dies with the project and does not live on. Right. So the postmortem mortem meeting is really good, but it needs to live and breathe dynamically to the future as well. And so the regularity of revisiting project goals and making sure that in the maintenance phase that you don't let all of that hard work and goodness die, because now the new team has inherited the project. Having all of those type of things live on is really key. So I would say it's underrated. Make sure you have a maintenance plan and gut checks, every quarter, every 6 months, every year, to make sure all of that time investment, that money investment, continues to live and breathe in your company.
Okay, perfect. Now, what about, we're always big on content. LinkedIn thought leadership, underrated or overrated?
Oh my gosh, definitely overrated.
That was easy. That was a good one.
Especially in the age of a generative AI, as soon as I see emojis, I'm like, scroll.
Or the M dash. That's
or
it.
the M dash. Yeah, the long dash or whatever you call that. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Remove the M dash if you want any credibility, right?
Yeah, we'll make sure to remove that from our posts. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes, I'll be watching, Raj. Okay, here's one. Gartner Magic Quadrant rankings.
Absolutely overrated.
Okay.
You're fourth way. Well, no.
Yes. No, you heard it here from Miss Bonnie Tinder, right? 2 more questions. One thing, I'm from sales, but feelings
before
can't
you do
be
that,
hurt
Jesse,
here.
I think there was one you missed over that I think everybody's dying to hear if it's overrated or underrated.
Okay.
Sunny's hair.
Oh, I did skip that one. Sunny's hair. Circle of trust, Bonnie.
Boy, Bonnie.
It's underrated.
Oh,
I feel like I feel like Sunny's hair needs its own
podcast. Its own podcast.
Needs its own podcast.
It does. It does need its own podcast.
Something's coming up.
It looks good, Sunny. Don't let everybody say it.
We
It
love
looks
you,
good.
Sunny. That's why we do it.
Love you guys.
Go ahead, Jesse.
Okay, so switching to another one. Again, as a salesperson, but what is one thing vendors should stop doing during sales cycles?
I would say one thing that they should stop doing is stop over-promising AI magic without showing how it actually drives adoption or saves time or money or solves, problems that are worth solving.
Fair. That's a good one. It's very relevant. Okay. And then what is one prediction for 2026 for HR tech implementations?
I think my prediction for 2026 is that customers are going to demand more proof of implementation outcomes up front. I think partner accountability will be a non-negotiable. And I think by the end of 2026, we'll see some massive AI failure that results in a data compromise or breach and things like that because of how quickly people are starting to implement things without a lot of governance around that. So those would be my predictions.
Awesome, guys. Well, I know we'd love to keep going, but I think this is probably one of our longest podcasts, and which is amazing, right? Thank you so much, Bonnie, for keeping it real, right? And kind of sort of reminding us that partner selection isn't sort of important. It's everything. So to our audience and our listeners, be sure to check out Raven and Tell, and also be sure to read the reviews before you go sign that SOW. Other thing I want to make sure is SAP Connect. It's right around the corner. October 6th through the 9th at the Fontainebleau in Las Vegas. If you haven't registered yet, make sure you go and register and lock in your spot. Also, keep an eye out on our socials. So the Payroll Baddies are going to be dropping something fun to sort of remind you guys once again about Vegas, but in a fun and interesting way. If you guys liked the episode, please be sure to like, subscribe, and share our podcast on LinkedIn and YouTube. And see you guys on our next podcast.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Bonnie. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
We keep it
Peace
high,
out.
doing payroll right. We don't need no strike. Work they calling y'all rock stars, ain't that cute? Day Force, UKG, y'all still in pursuit. But we baddies in the game, bringing more to the loop. Go. Baddies bring the clarity, got clarity in sight. We bring in payroll tech, making it right, spreading the word. From S4 to the cloud, Daddy's got the vision, making payroll proud. SAP payroll is king, we wearing the crown. Those companies starting with P, y'all know the name. Trying to keep up, but it's not the same. Tech on lock, we automating the flow. No more headaches, we let that payroll glow. Innovating daily, got the future on deck. Payroll baddies, running it, showing respect. So all the payroll baddies, you know who you are. Join the cause, let's take it far. All you baddies out there, it's on the rise. Join the movement, no compromise. Keep your rock stars, we're classy, no charades. Payroll baddies, ready to fight and get paid.